This video introduces the new features now available to you in the latest SharpCloud on-premise update. These consist of the following: a red notification bubble that now appears on the top right hand side of an item when commenting on individual items. Users now have the ability to paste panel data directly into the data grid, as well as resource URLs, so users can now bulk add resources. SharpCloud now allows you to display all of the relationships for an item across multiple stories in an enterprise pack using a specific URL, as well as the ability to incorporate the work breakdown structure into your timeline view, but this will be covered in another video. A final feature that is not covered on the initial summary slide is that relationships have now slightly changed in the way they operate. And what I mean by this is that you can either choose to open up the item as usual or highlight the relationship. To begin, we'll look at item comment notifications and how we can now comment on individual items. Here I've started off with a basic story populated with items sitting in categories we're used to seeing, such as objectives, owners, programs, and so on. Click on the comments button to choose to comment on the overall story, or when you open up an item and click on the comments button, you'll see that you can now comment on individual items. And now after commenting on that individual item and dropping back out into my story, you can see that I have one red notification bubble to let me know I have an unread comment. This shows me which items have been commented on since I've last viewed the story. But note that I can't make my own comment bubble disappear. There are two ways to clear this item comment notification bubble. The first is to head to the notification bell and click mark all items as read. Or after someone has commented on your item, you can simply open up the item and click the comments button to open up the pane, and then the notification will be cleared. It is now possible to copy and paste item panels and derive global panels using the data grid. This allows you to copy panels from one item or story to another, or to update panels using external data. This functionality is available for HTML, rich text, video, images, attributes, and custom resource panels. This allows you to create item panels easily from a spreadsheet of data. Previously, only bulk adding of panel data could be achieved using the SDK. Now moving over to an example Excel spreadsheet, first we're going to look at how to structure data and then how to paste this into the data grid. Now as you can see, we have our four compulsory columns. The first is item, which relates to the item name that you want to paste the panel data into. The second is panel, which defines the panel name. The third is type, which specifies the type of panel type you want to use. And the fourth is data, which is the key component here, as each panel has its own different kind of data, and this is where you specify what data you want to pull in. Now coming back to my story, we'll take a quick look at the process of pasting panel data. Head to the burger menu illustrated by the three lines, and then from the admin menu click edit data. Now you should see the final tab called panels. Beneath this tab you'll see two further options, global panels and item panels. Click item panels and then click paste. Click Ctrl V to paste in your data, and then OK to confirm. You'll then be presented with a preview of your data, and once you're happy with this, click OK again to drop back into your story. Now you'll see if I open up my lower cost of sale item that my panels have all been pasted in. Now a couple key points to make about pasting in panels is that you cannot paste in default panels, and if you want to update an existing panel you have to paste matching on panel ID. Moving on to the next feature, SharpCloud now allows you to display all of the relationships for an item across multiple stories in an enterprise pack using a specific URL. This URL can be used in the HTML panel, which will then show all of the relationships for an item that you have access to. As you can see, this is the correct URL formatting to use when working with item insight panels. Paste one of these two links into the HTML panel and you'll see the insights appear. You can choose to either have the element ID or the internal ID of the item. Now coming back to SharpCloud, I've just opened up an enterprise story and I'm going to create a global item insights panel that will then appear in all of my items that you see here. Head into story setup, and then under the categories tab you'll see global panels. Then click to add a HTML panel and paste in the URL of the item that you want to show the deeper insights of. Now after clicking OK to confirm, if I move through all of my items you'll see that an item insights panel has been included to show me that my healthy living item is then related to all of the other following technologies, products and programs. Just as we did with panel data, we can now do the same with resources. So we can now paste in resource URLs directly from an Excel spreadsheet into the data grid in SharpCloud. This enables users to bulk add resources and link to items from directly within the data grid. Previously this could only be done by adding one at a time using the SDK. As you can see, I currently have no resources, so if I drop back out to my story, and then let's say I want to add some resources to the mobile presence item. Just come into this item again, I can see there's no current resources, and now if I come back over to Excel we can see how these are structured. As you can see, it's very similar to pasting in panel data. We have our item column which relates to the item name, we have our name which is used for the name of the resource, a description which describes the resource, and then of course the URL. So simply click Ctrl A to copy all the data including the headings, move back over to your story, and then click paste when in the data grid. click Ctrl V to paste in, and you'll be presented with a preview of your data. OK to confirm. Now if I open up my mobile presence item, you should see that I have my two new resources, which I can simply click on to open up the BBC News website, for instance. And now moving on to the final feature, which is how relationships and their on-click behavior operate. And by this I mean you can now change the way the on-click behavior works, so you can either choose to open up the item into radial view, or click the item and open up to see the panels as usual. To choose what function to use, head to the View options illustrated by the four boxes, and under the Relationship tab you should see the button On Click. Click down the drop-down list to choose between Highlight Relationship or Click to Open Item. When you are happy, click OK, and you should see the item relationship perform as specified.